Welcome everybody to this Deepvue special event. We're really excited to demo out the platform that we've been building and answer as many questions as possible, and hopefully start the process for getting you guys onboarded. So really excited for this one. We've got a quick presentation, just a few slides here, and then we'll jump right into the platform itself and walk through pretty much every feature you have and try to answer as many questions as we can. So looking forward to this, and Rye, I'll hand it over to you.
Awesome. So we'll begin with a little bit about Deepvue and what we're trying to accomplish. Deepvue, if we want to summarize it in one sentence, is going to be an ecosystem that will have and cater to any technical traders, investors, fundamentalists, customizable platform that allows you to do anything that you possibly want or is related to your trading all in one place. So we have a fully spec'd out screener module, a fully spec'd out charting module. We have watch lists and more that is already present. And we are continuously building the platform to add more and more week to week and month to month to Deepvue itself. So a few things that kind of differentiate Deepvue from other platforms, or that that are have existed in the market for over a decade, for me is the ability for us to ship out new updates, listen to our users, customer support, listening to the issues that you guys are having, and being at the forefront of replicating them and fixing them as quickly as possible. And the last bit is just building solutions that cater to the wider audience, so that we don't build a product for a particular niche. Though we will cater to each of the niches that exist, could be growth trading, day trading, swing trading. The platform is built to really cater to all of them at once, with the solutions that we build and the modules that we add. A little bit about when we all started all of this. We started all of this back in 2018 as an idea. Many of you guys know us from the Trader Lion side, as that's when we started Trader Lion. We kind of interacted with you guys day to day, educate. The Trader Lion is an educational platform, and then kind of took all of those learnings and put it into a platform that users can use to scan the markets, manage their trading and investing. So a lot of work from 2018 to today has gone into the platform to now have public pricing available and general availability, which will start today. Our philosophy is very simple. We want to make sure that the platform works and is accurate. The second is the quality of data that we give you guys has to be at the highest level. And the third is making sure that our update cycles, what we show or ship out, is very accurate and to the point, so that you're not worried about speed, quality, and accuracy. You're more worried about, scanning the markets, trading the markets, doing your homework, and focused on that aspect, rather than, things are not working, or, speed is an issue, or quality is an issue in any way. So that's the base, philosophy that we operate on. And the fourth one, I would say probably the most important one, is customer service. Talking to you guys, listening to your concerns, listening to what you want, and making sure that all of that makes it to the platform over a span of time. Richard, I want to pass it over to you to kind of talk about, the rationale of Deepvue and why we started.
Yeah, so looking at this page here, this is feedback that we asked people who are interested in Deepvue and Deepvue users. What are their pain points? What isn't being solved right now in the marketplace? So this is kind of a summary of what we got. We got so many responses, and I want to echo what Rai said about listening to our users and listening to our audience, because we're right there every day, talking to them, getting feedback on new features, designs, even at that stage. And it's really the best way that we can focus on what our users will actually want and get a ton of value of. So looking at the screen, there's a lot of things here, but the biggest thing is that there isn't one all-in-one tool. You've got all these different subscriptions. You've got this for fundamentals, you've got this for charting, you've got this for screening. It's all over the place. None of it talks to each other, and there isn't just one option that solves everything. That's the biggest thing. And like Ryan mentioned earlier, we want to basically create an ecosystem where everything is linked, everything is seamless, and that allows you to save yourself time on your routines and workflows, so you can focus on your life and actually trading as well. Because if you have to screen over here, copy and paste, bring it over here for watch lists to look at fundamentals, have to search the website, there's all these extra steps involved. And what we want to do is really save people time and enable them to trade at their highest level. That's pretty much it. I call it, I want to create Deepvue as the ultimate trading assistant, where it's seamless, it's effective, it's easy, and like Rai said, you can focus on what's actually important, which is trading the markets. So with that, I think we can go to the next slide here. So once again, just echoing this, there's no all-in-one solution, and that's what we want to be at Deepvue, and that's what we're building towards.
So a little bit more about the ecosystem. We've been actively developing the platform since 2020, and now it's been about 18 to 20 months that we've been into it. We've completed several modules that we feel excel in the scanning space or the charting space or the alerts that we have or the fundamental data if we do one-on-one comparisons with other platforms. But we're not done yet. We will always continuously add things. So if you have a separate, journaling subscription, we want to be able to cater that within Deepvue, and you could journal within Deepvue. Or if you're going somewhere for market color, for example, you have a subscription elsewhere to read about news in the markets. We want to bring that in so that you're not leaving Deepvue throughout the day. If you want to know earnings dates and you want to confirm, so you go to Earnings Whisper or some other website to make sure that you have accurate earnings data, we already have that in Deepvue. So we're trying to make a ecosystem that talks to each other. You're not going to a third-party website to get your information and then import it back into Deepvue. That's what we're trying to get rid of. It's kind of like the modern day Bloomberg terminal kind of vibe is what we're trying to build. And these modules that we have at the moment and ones that we will be coming out into the end of the year will all cater towards how do you cut subscription? How do you cut going to third-party websites? How do you cut wasting your time looking for different information from different places to get what you need to get done, right? So we want to streamline that process, cut your time in terms of efficiency, and give you the flexibility in each of these modules to do whatever it is that you want to be doing and cater to all different styles, not just a can slim or growth strategy, but if you're a day trader, you could do that with our scanner as well. So that's our ultimate goal. And I think now we'll just head right into a demo of Deepvue, exactly, all the functionality that we kind of have at the moment, and really get into the depth of the platform. So over to you, Richard.
Yeah, I just requested control. And as we go through the screener, please let me know in the chat if I'm going too fast, if you'd like me to focus on another feature. Tyler is already busy answering dozens of questions, so shoot those at him. He's a pro at that. And we want to answer as many questions as possible. That's the goal of today, is to get you guys familiar with what our feature set is and where we're going. So with that, let's go ahead and dive in. What we're in right now is the main screener module. And Rai, can you see my mouse circling like this? Right here? Or that's just my screen. No problem. This is the main screener module. I've got control here. Over here on the left-hand side is the main navigation bar. You can pop this open to see the names here. We've got screener, Deeplists, alerts. Down here is where you mess with your account settings. This is also where you turn on dark mode if you'd like to. We've also got the support module where you can report bugs if there are any, see our future roadmap, and see any of the very frequent updates and new features and modules that we're bringing into Deepvue. So now kind of just focusing on the screener module here just to get you oriented. We've got the data columns over here on the left-hand side, which you can drag the chart to reveal more of them. We've only got 2 in here right now. We'll talk about loading different sets in just a second. Then down here on the bottom, we've got the stats table. This is where all your earnings, sales, growth data is housed. We've also got estimates here. If I scroll all the way over to the right-hand side, you can see the estimates here. And also we've got the main chart. We've got any indicators you'd like to load in here at the top. And then finally, over on the right-hand side, we've got the Deepvue data table. So that's kind of the main setup for both the screener and watch list deep list module. And that kind of sets you up for looking at fundamental data, looking at the technical data, analyzing the chart, however you wish, right in one pane. So now let's kind of dive in deeper to each of the different parts of the screener. And once again, if you have any questions, let me know in the chat as I go through. All right, so starting with the data columns, these are basically, you can create a data table of the most important information to you. And one thing I want to emphasize as I go through here is you might notice that everything is pretty much customizable. You're able to tailor things to incorporate the data points that are most important to you in your process. Some platforms you're kind of locked in. With Deepvue, we want to kind of unlock everything and make it fully customizable, so you're not, overcome by noise. You don't have data points on your screen that you never refer to. Instead, you can pick exactly what you want and find useful. So these data columns, you can go ahead and edit them using the column settings icon right here. You can see the columns that we have selected. You can either search for data columns up here or use these filters to select. I don't know, Rye. We've got well over 100 data points in here, both fundamental. Yeah, 300 data points in here. And these are fundamental based. We've got price and volume based ones. We've got a whole bunch of technical price patterns, which we'll get into a little bit, but we've got the David Ryan Ants indicator. We've got oops reversals. We've got all this stuff that's very specialized, and a lot of people in our community requested. So we went ahead and incorporated it to empower you guys. So once you select the data columns that you'd like, you'll see them pop over here. You can drag and drop easily, change up the order. This updates in real time over here. So everything is very quick, very fluid. And you can also save a bunch of different column sets depending on what you basically like to incorporate. So this is Rye's computer, but I made my own personal column set here. We'll load that up. And you can see the criteria over here on the right-hand side. I like to have the most important stuff for intraday stuff right over here at the top, because that corresponds to being over here on the left-hand side intraday. So I can monitor the price percent change. I can see the last price, relative volume. You can also use the run rate, the volume run rate indicator, which represents the same data in the same way. And this is a really important data point. So I do want to emphasize this. This represents the current run rate at any day compared to that same time looking back at a certain period. We've got a 20-day look back period option as well as a 50-day look back period. So if the volume is running 10 times faster than normal, you'll see that right here, right at 9:31 when the bell rings. You'll see that clear large volume. And you can even see here, we've got one of Nick's amazing data visualizations where if it's above a certain value, I believe it's 1.5x, we put a dot here signifying that this is extraordinarily large volume. So with everything as Deepvue, as we go through, we want to make things easier and highlight key occurrences and key levels with values. So we'll touch on a few more visualizations, and I think Nick will discuss that in depth in just a second. But again, with the data columns, super powerful. And to open them up and see more of them, you can go ahead and stretch this, hide the chart a little bit. You can, of course, reorganize the columns, make them bigger or smaller. And yeah, as I mentioned, intraday, I'm more focused like this, where I've got more of the chart. But during the weekends, as I'm going through stocks, I like to open this up a little bit to definitely see the industry groups and basically allow me to complete my weekly routine a lot faster. So one more thing about data columns is the ability to sort and multi-sort. So this is a big one. This really helps intraday as you're going through ideas. If you want to see what's upmost on the day on a particular screen, if you want to see what's downmost, if you want to see what's upmost since the open, you're able to do that using the sorting, and it updates in real time. So that's really key. You don't have to press any refresh button or anything like that. It's automatically updating. So if I'm sorted by the price percent change and Arlo moves past Iowa and Q, it will update in real time. Very, very useful. And getting into the multi-sort capability, let's go ahead and clear that sort by clicking this icon right here. And you can see it reverts back to alphabetical. Multi-sort is really useful when you've got a discrete column, meaning there's kind of different categories that a stock can be placed into, and then a more, basically a column with normal price values or number values here. So I really like to use this when it comes to the industry group, where I can do my first sort by the industry group. So let's sort from low to high. So all of these stocks you can see are sorted by industry group together. And then within that sort here, within that industry group sort, I can sort by any other data column over here. So let's open this up and let's use daily closing range. So DCR is daily closing range, where the stock is within its daily range. And you can see again, the really cool visualizations that we've got here. This is 88% of the stock's range. So it's really close to the highs. This one is 23%. So you can actually see on the candlestick here how low it is in that bar. And just Nick, I know you're going to touch on this, but I just want to say this is super cool because, just with these 4 columns, or including price percent change as well, just with price percent change, relative volume, DCR, you can get a sense of what the stock is doing without even having to open up the chart. So you actually know based on a screen result, hey, is it worth bringing up the stock chart, or can I just move on to another idea? So this gives a really great picture of what the stock is doing intraday without even having to, if you're on another stock, you can still get a sense of what a stock is doing. And one more thing about the visualization, Nick, I know you'll touch on this. You can see the last 5 volume bars right here. So if a stock is exploding on large volume or even dropping on large volume, as we've seen recently, unfortunately, you can see that pattern once again without even having to open up the price chart. So it's a really helpful and handy time saver. So getting back to what I was doing, I'm getting off track here. We've got a sort by the industry group, which are different categories. Then within that category, let's go ahead and click this header here. So the first sort is the industry group. The second sort is the DCR. So now within that industry group, let's find a good example here where there's a lot. Let's do the banks here. So focus on these banks. You can see that it's sorted from high to low based on that daily closing range. So this is really helpful during your weekend routine where I like to sort by industry group, then 1 month relative strength, DCR, depending on the environment. So it's really helpful because you get to see all the stocks in the theme, in the group together, and get a sense of what's the strongest stock in that group, what's the weakest, how are they doing overall. So once again, the multi-sort capability is super easy to use and really powerful. And I highly recommend, if you're not already using it, definitely go ahead and give it a shot.
And one thing I just want to add to that is all of this is real time. So we process data from all 18 exchanges in the United States, and all of this data that you see when the market's open is all real time. So there's no add-on or anything like that. It's
included.
It's just that's how it is with all of this data. So DCR updates real time, WCR updates real time, relative volume, time of day relative volume updates real. All of this is real time. So.
Yep, that's perfect. And most platforms don't do that. We're doing that. So once again, another differentiation. And I do see some questions coming in the chat, which is great. If you could please put all questions in the Q&A section. Once again, that helps keep us organized and make sure we can answer all our questions. Otherwise, stuff might get lost. So please go ahead, and if you've asked a question in the chat, copy and paste that and put it over into the Q&A section of Zoom. So with that, once again, you can clear all your sorting like this. And just with one sort, just to give an example, you can sort from low to high, high to low, and then clear the sort with one more click if you don't want to go ahead and click that icon over there. So with that, I think that's most of what I wanted to cover, just talking about the data columns. Nick, I think I'll hand it over to you to dive a lot deeper into the visualizations and kind of what we want to achieve with that.
Yeah, I'll keep it relatively short so we could dive into, because we have so many features that we want to cover. But there's a lot of thought that goes into each layer of this. We're all trading each day, and there's things that we really want to see and we incorporate into the platform. Richard, if you make the chart bigger, one cool visualization too that we have is when you have 3 quarters in a row that are accelerating or decelerating, it will put a line under it as well. So kind of the idea behind everything that we're doing is we just want to support quick decision making. As Richard said earlier, we want you to focus on trading and the market, and Deepvue will kind of do the rest for you. So we're really just focused on, how can we make the quickest decisions? How do we quickly filter out the best ideas from the rest? And it's super simple to build your watch list because you can see what's important right away. That's really it. We're adding lots of new visuals all the time. A lot of ideas come from our users first, and some of them are simple and we can add them relatively quick. Some of them are longer tasks, but we're constantly taking that feedback and incorporating it into the platform. So yeah, I'll hand it back over to you, Richard.
Yeah,
Yeah, a few
Okay.
other things on visualization. So we have earnings embedded, and it gives you all the earnings data, including for future quarters. It will give you the up revision and down revisions as well. And all of the estimates data is kind of updated. The up and down arrows kind of show you if the estimates were revised up or down. On the left side, we have the earnings flags. So this data is updated twice a day. As companies confirm that they're about to report, we have that right here. So you can have confidence in that, the earnings data itself.
And this is so helpful because you're never caught off guard. Obviously, you always want to double check with the website, but there's been times where I'm like, oh, this chart looks great, and then I've got that immediate reminder. They're reporting, I think that happens to everybody. The chart looks amazing, but when you've got that gray flag there that shows it's coming up, the earnings the earnings date, or if it's red, it means it's a lot more immediate. So it's super helpful and definitely a time saver. Sorry, Ryan, I cut you off. Was there anything else?
No, that's all. That's all.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, no, definitely. I think the visualizations, it sets us apart because we're not just, throwing a whole data table at you. We're adding value that allows you to interpret it a lot easier and faster. And when you're going through 50 names, 100 names, 300 names, those little time savers add up a lot and save you time. So I think that's really important. All right, so the data columns are awesome. We've covered that. Getting into the stats table here that Nick was referring to. This stock isn't accelerating its quarters here, but in its estimates, you see an acceleration trend in that growth. It goes from 2%, 7%, 9%, and as it's doing that, we color in the bar here. If it's at least 2 quarters, that acceleration trend, we highlight that with a blue bar underneath. So once again, if you're just space barring through a lot of stocks, you can quickly see what basically are accelerating their growth or decelerating their growth. So if it's decelerating, we have a nice pink bar here. So yeah, it just allows you to focus on the stocks that are showing the trends that you want to see. Plain and simple. Here in the stats table, we've got a whole lot of quarters historically. Rye, is it over 10 quarters mostly for most stocks? Historical data?
Yeah, 10 to 12 quarters, and as we go forward in time, we're saving all of that data. So 5 years from now, we're not cutting the data off as we go. So it's all stored. And we will also be adding more historical quarterly data as well. But at the moment, if a stock has the last 10 to 12 quarters reported, that data is available and there for you in the platform.
Yeah, and this hover here, I think, is awesome too. Rye highlighted the representation over here as well, but I think this is another really great, quick way to see, key information about that earnings report. We've got the reported data. We have what the estimate was. We've got the surprise percentage of that estimate. So you can see here, this stock, which has a nice run recently, beat EPS by 151%. That's an important thing that you might want to keep an eye on. We've also got the dollar surprise there. And we don't just have that for earnings, but we've got that for sales as well. So, sometimes earnings might beat, but sales were lackluster. That's another important information that we empower you to refer back to. And pretty much for any quarter that we've got the data, we've got those numbers there for you. Over here to the right of the dotted line, anything to the right here is estimate data. So this is pretty revolutionary in terms of a product like this. The amount and granularity of estimate data and the quality of this data as well. Raya, I'll hand it over to you to kind of touch on this and how you use it.
So with estimates data, we get it directly from FactSet. We align on our update cycles relative, when FactSet has an update, we receive that update. So one of the things when we started this webinar was about data quality, right? We want to ensure that we as, me, Ross, Richard, and Nick, we're trading the markets. We understand the markets. We educate on the trader line side. So we know the pain points as to what the other platforms might be doing or might not be doing at the moment. So data quality is kind of at the forefront of, how often are we syncing to whatever data we've procured, and how do we present that data at the same time? So with this estimates data, we have quarterly estimates that we update twice a day, and we sync directly with the FactSet database. And then we also have annual estimates going forward when you toggle to the annual view. So both of those combined, just from an estimates perspective, if we were to do a one-on-one comparison, this is something that's found on kind of institutional level softwares, and if we're speaking estimates strictly. So that's why we're kind of excited to bring this, not only to be on a Panerai or Wanda or some institutional product that exists, because it is expensive data, but the goal that we have here is data should not be the worry, or it should not be a barrier of entry for you to interpret and view the markets the same way an institution might be viewing the market, or have access to better data from an earnings and sales perspective. So it might seem like a very small thing, but in the grand scheme of things, it's our roadmap is kind of catered towards giving you access to any data that you could possibly imagine. If you want it, in front of you, you have access to it. If you don't, you could always hide it and not see it as well, giving you the flexibility. So yeah, we get it from FactSet. We have historical, we have future estimates, both quarterly and annual. Our update cycles are very strict from a data quality perspective to make sure that we're updating as to what the latest data is, rather than doing it weekly or monthly or even quarterly when comparing. So one other thing I do want to add is any of the data that you see in the stats table is all scannable. So if you want to scan for surprises, you want to scan for dollar surprises over the last 3 quarters, you want to build a screen based on just estimates going forward, all of the data that we have is all scannable, and you can build screens around just estimates or sales surprises or dollar surprises. Whatever it is that you see is all scannable as well.
Yeah, and just to double click a point here, looking at the estimate data, it's kind of as simple as this. Stocks often trade on the expectation of future growth. So we're giving you insight into that at the level of institutional products. I mean, that's pretty awesome. I remember when NVIDIA reported, you saw the EPS, the surprise right there, but you saw all these arrows immediately turn blue as guidance, exploded upward. And that trend and the ability to see, right, you know exactly how many quarters we have for most stocks, but the ability to see the pathway, the growth runway is super invaluable. Yeah. Do you want to touch on how many quarters of
Yeah,
estimates we
I
do?
mean, we
Yeah.
have, it depends on the stock really, right? So if a stock is, if analysts pick up a stock and they're revising the guidance up, it kind of varies stock to stock. So,
Yeah.
but we do have a minimum of, 5 to 6 quarters of quarterly estimates and 3 years minimum of yearly estimates. But it all depends on, and Apple is covered a lot more than a company that nobody knows about yet. For example, like a biotech that really doesn't make any money yet. So it all depends on how many analysts are covering that, and then how many are revising that data up. So anything that we have in our databases, we display it over. There's no restriction. There's no, if you have this plan, then you'll get this type of thing. It's you get it all. Whatever we have, we kind of display it.
Yep, perfect. And the last key piece that I want to touch on before we touch on chart a little bit and then actually dive into the screener itself is the data panel. And this is like my favorite thing in Deepvue. And I remember all the users, were super excited when we brought this over, and I love it as well. This data panel is basically on a per stock basis. It's your home for the most important information that you want to see. So this is Rise set up here. He's got company info. We've got the industry sector right here there for you. The next earnings date, you can click this and get to the website right there, quick and easy. We've got some price and volume data, momentum scores, fundamental scores. So once again, any data point that we have in Deepvue, you're able to bring into this, and it's fully customizable. Some platforms you're locked in. You might not even ever look at this one data point, but you still have to see it on a day-to-day basis, and it becomes noise. Here you can select exactly what you want to see and incorporate that into it. And we're always adding data points based on suggestions from users. If there's something not in Deepvue that people want, we're going to get it in there as fast as we can. It's as simple as that. And it once again, this is just super customizable. And to edit it, what you'd want to do is just click this. Once again, things are super intuitive. You can also create new categories. So, momentum scores, that's something that Rye created. We have a default template there, but you can edit these names. You can move them around. You can also view it in 2 different columns if you'd like. I personally like one single column just to get more chart space, but there's definitely people who are more fundamental focused that we definitely want to think about and give the opportunity to have more of these data points available right here for you. So once again, super easy to use. To add a data point, you just go over here. You can see a menu pop up. You can scroll and find something. You can see all the data points we've got. Currently company info is selected. So, it's as easy as just checking a box. It's added. You can get rid of it. Really, really nice user interface here, and really easy to create a really powerful reference over here on the right-hand side. You can see Rise also got a lot of the visualization stuff in here. So he can pretty much hide this all the way over here to the left-hand side and refer to this. So Ryan, am I missing anything with the data panel? Anything that you really like about it?
You can go ahead and maybe create a new bucket just
sure.
to showcase the flexibility of it. You can move stuff around. So the order. So again, the idea here is to not restrict you to a certain style with the subscription. It's to give you the freedom to try new things, see new data, and structure it whichever way that it is that you want really. So that's what we have in mind with every kind of component that we build, but be it the screener table, the data panel, the stats table. All of them have this complete flexibility to give you the data that you want to see, not force it down your throat and say, this is what you must be doing in the market. So that's kind of the focus of the data panel, but kind of every component that we have in Deepvue.
Yeah, and of course, as you're space barring through, this updates right there with you with the chart. So you've got the growth runway over here with the stats table. You've got these key information over here in the data table. And it all kind of combines to, once again, just create this dashboard that it provides you a lot of data in a well-organized manner. And again, it's fully customizable and tailored to how you like to trade the markets. So with that, let's go ahead and move on to the chart briefly, touch on some of the special indicators we have. And over here on the top here, before I dive in, if you want to focus on the chart and maybe it's intraday and you've got your watch list set, you just want to watch price action, you can hide both the data table and the stats table right here. You can bring them back just by clicking these buttons. So I know a lot of people focus on, chart space and want that intraday. And, I often hide some of this stuff intraday. You can really easily do that. So you can just maximize that chart as much as possible and really get into it. So with that, let's touch on the chart briefly. Once again, we've incorporated, the market leader in this space where these are TradingView charts with our specific data, as well as, a bunch of other I can't, buzz and whistles, whatever that saying is. I can't remember right now. Bells and whistles. There you go.
Buzz and whistles.
It's early for me on the West Coast, guys. Yeah, perfect. So anyway, you can fully customize this. Once again, we've got the dark mode, which you can access by clicking account if you'd like to. I think that's what I'll pretty much be sticking with. I think it's sick. But yeah, when it comes to the chart, you've got full control with how it looks, how the symbol is, what the status line looks like, the scales, canvas. I hope people aren't making fun of me in the chat too much here. But yeah, you've got full customizability. You can add as many indicators as you want. There's no restriction whatsoever, and we've got dozens and dozens to choose from. All the key ones here we've got. And if you scroll down here, you can see the Deepvue specific ones. Enhanced volume, relative strength line, stage analysis, which incorporates Stan Weinstein's methodology, was fantastic. WebRSI for Mike Webster. We'll be adding so many more of these. We've got a dedicated team working on these. So anything specifically that our users want and are highly requested, we're going to be adding to this. So this Deepvue list, I think next year will probably be, 20 names. I don't know, but it's going to be very, very cool. And we'll be creating stuff that adds a lot of value. It's not just going to be like, this fancy indicator stuff that, our users want and we know can provide an edge, we'll be incorporating. So, highly requested recently has been net new high lows, breadth indicators. That's coming very, very soon this month. And we're really excited to get that in there. Ryan, anything to add about the Deepvue indicators?
No, I mean, that's again, we want to emphasize the fact that we will listen and we will incorporate stuff. We'll move faster than most platforms because we're actively developing and improving this software. We're not a 15, 20-year-old and with no customer support. We have people that will listen to what you have to say and how we can improve, and we'll improve it. That's kind of our goal. That's not, when Deepvue is 10 years old, it will remain the same. When Deepvue is 15 years old, it will remain the same. So that's kind of at the forefront of, we want to make sure that you're not going elsewhere for 5 different pieces of information to get something done. So we want to have it all in, in kind of one place. The second is with respect to the charting module, it's directly, you could say a one-on-one replica of the TradingView charting engine, but it includes customizations with respect to the data that we use is from us. We wet the data, we take a look at it, we have test cases, and we make sure the data is accurate as to how we see the market or how we should interpret it. So there, and the second is all the indicator templates, drawing tools, different chart types, different chart timeframes, compare tool, all of that is all available in here. But they have, our kind of spin on it as to how we see, what's important. So something like the anchor AVWAP is in here as well. You could plot stages, right? You can't do that with the standard, I guess, TradingView, but we have custom indicators that we're bringing that will add a lot of value to our charting module. So
yeah, and you can see we've got the favorites here. So anchor VWAP I know is very popular, so you can quickly access that up here, and you can add any of the drawing tools up here and be your own Brian Shannon. So perfect. Here we've got the Deepvue relative strength line shown. This is our spin where we've got added indicators there for you that add a lot of value, and that's true with all the Deepvue indicators. And as Ryan mentioned, you're able to save different templates here, so you can see some of the stuff that he's got. Weinstein Daily, where in one click you're able to load a whole new setup. Here's the this relative strength line is shaded with the stage analysis, so you can kind of see that. We were in stage 4 a little bit here, immediately stage 2, And I saw a comment here that I do want to touch on here. In the data panel, you've got the Stan Weinstein stage right there for you. So, these indicators are based on, hours of conversation with Stan, what he looks for in terms of price actions. So, we're really proud of these, and we think it adds a lot of value and is a great, quick visual way to identify that longer term trend. So definitely make use of that if you like to trade his style. So
one thing,
yeah,
in terms of restrictions, I do see a couple of questions. You can add, I don't know, 50 indicators if you want, 100 indicators. Obviously, you won't add 100. There's no limitation. There's no limitation on the amount of layouts that you could save. There's really, those are the two that I saw. And in terms of alerts, which we will get to, you can save up to 400 server-side active alerts, concurrent alerts, which includes EMS or SMS and email, both of those. I'm just trying to think if there are any other questions that we have or we could talk to about.
Yeah. So multi-time frame, I think is a good one. So let's go over here. You've got all these different options for multiple time frames. You can link these by symbol, set it up. So let's set this one up by clicking it and selecting the 30-minute time frame. So you've got the daily over here now, the 30-minute. Let's set this to we'll go 5-minute here. So as you spacebar through, you get to see all those time frames together. Really, really powerful. Once again, there's no platform like that provides the fundamentals with the stats table and data panel, and you can get such powerful charting like this. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
There's
you
a
can
question
also,
on layouts. If we could just cover that, Richard. In terms of layouts, you could go up to 16.
Yeah.
Like.
Oh, saved here. Yeah.
Yeah, save layouts, but also like the dimensions. So all of these are
Yeah.
resizable. I'll take over.
Yeah, go ahead.
So all of these are resizable. And you could go as crazy as 16. I don't know why you would want to. Maybe you could do that, but all of this is, you could assign it a different time frame. We're working on
or different stock, right? So if you want to watch,
stock, yeah. And you could also, what you could do is maybe, in some of the updates that we'll have coming up, you could pop this chart out and put it on a different, bigger monitor, and that could be your 16, charts that you're kind of watching, right? So most people will not go to 16, but if you do want to do that, you could always do that.
If you're using 16, you're a legend, and shoot me a screenshot with your dashboard. That'll be sick. Yeah,
and then unlimited layouts, really. So you could save them for different purposes. One that I have is something that I like to check every now and then is the just lock this drawing mode. The FFTY versus the QQQ. So you could save that. I've seen people save the sector layout, so they will plot all their sectors and kind of have like a compare time frame for that. How do I get rid of this? Yeah, so you can have different layouts and save different information. What I've been doing recently is just saving different ones. So I'm going to make a sector one, and it will show me, XLK, all the spider sectors, basically all in one, and you can see year-to-date performance. So there's a lot of, options there, and then we're going to be adding more to this. So some things we will be doing differently than TradingView itself. For example, you could save a snapshot of a chart as an image and then refer back to it later. That's something we want to do into the end of the year, which kind of incorporates, you could kind of build a folder with a whole bunch of images that could be a model book, right? That's something I really want to, get that into into our platform so that you could do studies. So you could study a setup, you could save a whole, maybe you find 15 examples for that setup, or you could quickly save, you see the stock, it fits the setup fits what you look for in the markets, and you could quickly save it to a folder and you could refer back to it later. So we have a lot of those ideas that kind of sway away from TradingView, but we have full customizability and control over what we could do here as well, which I think is very important to emphasize. So we're not restricted. We could kind of unlock all the capabilities that TradingView has, but kind of go our own way with respect to how we want to add different things.
I
tool.
didn't even think of doing this. This is awesome. I gotta set something up like that. That's really
Yep.
useful to look for divergences and all that. One other aspect of the chart that I want to double click on is I'll take back control. Is
Yep.
you're able to go back in time to any time frame. Yesterday and the John Boyk webinar with Jim Ropel, we went back to the ISRG chart from 2016 to look at how that earnings gap evolved and looked like. So again, when it comes to building model books, you're able to go back in time, look exactly at what the stock looked like, and Rye, even intraday. You want to touch on that? Yeah.
And not only from a daily, weekly, monthly perspective, our intraday data, if we're talking about 1 minute data, you could look at like the Google breakout in 2004 from that IPO base. You could go to that day and look at it on a 5 minute, 3 minute, 1 minute chart as well. So that's another thing. We have intraday data that is saved, stored, cached, whatever you want to call it, and available from 2013 and onwards. And we're always looking to go back and kind of add more. It gets a little bit tough when you go in terms of data quality, if you go back, 10 years or more in terms of intraday data, but that's something we want to add as well, where you could look at breakouts, do your studies back in time on smaller frames or daily, weekly, monthly, which are always available on most platforms as well. So you could have the granularity of, what was the situation. You could plot the SPY on the same intraday or the Qs on the same intraday and see how you would orient yourself, or if you were in that situation, how you would tackle that situation as well. So we're kind of from that perspective, it goes into the simulator stuff that Richard talked about, which will be, early next year, late next year. But we're kind of prepping. Everything that we are doing is kind of catering towards what's coming up
Yeah.
next.
Yeah, so I think that's good for the chart. Once again, I know the anchored VWAP will be a highly requested feature. So to find that, you can go over here. This will often be the trend line tool right here. If you click this arrow, it's right at the bottom. You can favorite it right here, which pops it out on the chart for easy access, as we showed. And yeah, I think that covers most of the chart setup. I've got a full 15-minute video that's located in our knowledge base, and we'll be posting on YouTube publicly pretty soon. That kind of walks through all the chart layout, saving templates, going back in time, all those key features. So we'll just run through it briefly here. So with that, I think we can push on to creating the screen, right? Let's go ahead and touch on that. So first, over here on the top left, when you're in the screener module, you'll see a drop-down menu, which unlocks all the screens that you've created. You can see Rise secret screens over here. And you can go over to the screener presets and sort through and go and use any of these screens that we've created. We've got markets, fundamentals. Basically, we've created a lot of these that we think would save people time and provide some idea generation, because with all of these, if you go over here, you can click these three dots, duplicate it, make it your own, tweak it, whatever you want to do. So definitely go ahead through here, look at them, and you'll get some really good ideas. We've also incorporated a lot from traders who we've worked with and are close with. We'll be adding a lot more to this. We've got stuff from Oliver Kell, things he works with that he talked about in his masterclass. We've got the Mark Minervini trend criteria. Leif, messaged me the other day, can I get some screens added? We've been talking to a lot of traders, so there'll be a lot more really high quality screens that top traders use every week coming, very soon here. And we've already got a great set over here. Ray has even allowed me to add some preset screens, so that's quite the honor. So thanks so much. But yeah, all of this is searchable. You can save things in folders. All of this, it looks like Rye's a little bit disorganized, but that's his style. So yeah, that's pretty much it for presets and loading a screen here. It's really easy to load screens. You just give it a click. And let's go ahead and load back that Power 21. You can see the Deepvue specific screens here. This is one that I've created, and you can see it load really quick and easy. It's very, very fast intraday to just load a different screen, which is awesome. To create a new screen, you click this button, but let's go ahead and talk through the Power 21 screen and the overall setup. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit more, Rye, just so people can see it. Yeah, that's probably good, right?
Yeah, that's good.
Cool. So over here, it's a very similar layout to everything, the data columns and data table, right? Stuff is saved in folders over here. You're able to click and choose data points. Over here, you can see sliders, all of that. Or if you'd like to, you can just search for a filter. So, 20, you can do ADR, 20 days, ATR percentage, last 20 days, price above the 20. It's really smart and really fast to find these data points. In order to add it to a specific group, what you want to do is go over here to the filter tree, give the group a click, then whatever filter you choose, let's go ahead and do quarterly sales growth last quarter. Let's do greater than 100%. Let's go crazy. And let's go ahead and add. And you can see it's added to this group. But, let's X this out. If you click this group now, and let's do greater than 25%. Oh, I didn't highlight here. 25%. There we go. Oh, let me delete here. 25. Let's add this. Now it's added to this group. So talking a little bit about this group system, because this is, again, an additional key feature of Deepvue. Group 1 is what you can think of as mandatory criteria, meaning in order to pass through this screen, every single one of these 3 conditions has to be met, or as many conditions as you have in here has to be met, every single one. So it has to be within 3% of that 21 day. Average volume has to be greater than 5 million. The ADR percentage has to be greater than 2%. But when you go back down to group 2, you can see this is purple and says or right here. Only one of these criteria has to be met for the stock to additionally pass through this layer of the filter. So all of these have to be met in group 1 because this is an and group. But when we get down here, you basically want to read this as the absolute strength score 1 month has to be greater than 93, or the absolute strength score in 3 months has to be between 90 and 100. So how I've got designed this screen is here. I want a stock within 3% of that 21 day, reasonably liquid. It can basically move. We've got pretty good ADR 5 days in terms of percentage. And then I want it to be either in the top 7% in terms of the last month performance, or looking at the 3-month performance in the top 10% here. So, only one of these criteria has to be true. And this is true if it's 3 criteria, 4 criteria, 5 criteria. Only one of these criteria in this group has to be true for it to additionally pass through this layer. And you can add multiple OR groups, all this, and really get fancy with it. I've seen some pretty cool stuff that people are creating. And it's super easy to use, and it adds a lot of functionality because a lot of people have screens where a lot of these mandatory criteria are the same, and maybe they're learning. A great example is looking for both earnings growth and sales growth. Instead of having to have a separate screen where you look for earnings growth over 25%, and then you have a separate screen that's 25% or sales percent change growth over 25%, you can combine that into one screen, add that as an OR filter, and then review all the results right together. And we'll be adding functionality here as well, so people who really want to take it to the next level can. But I think this unlocks a lot of possibilities that just aren't being able to be created in other platforms. So highly recommend checking this out. I've got, once again, tutorials about this specifically. So it might feel a little bit strange at first, but you'll kind of realize how powerful this is once you really start diving in, look at a lot of the examples. For instance, let me go ahead and load the Deepvue universe screen. So this is a preset that you have available. This is something that I created that provides a list of about 300, 400 names that I go through every weekend to basically look for high quality growth type momentum names. Editing the screen, you can see that we've got mandatory criteria where we've got a liquidity threshold. It's got to be over $10. It's got to be common stock. You can also, of course, screen for ETFs and all of that if you'd like to. Then we have 3 different OR groups that build this. So either the relative strength 1 month, 3 month, or 12 month has to be pretty solid, or it's in a leading group, or just that strength is super strong. And that trend has to be in place. So you can see how I've kind of incorporated this. And Ryan, am I missing anything about the and/or filters or this creating the screen in general that you think is really important for people watching?
No, I think you covered it all. One of my favorite ones is just the stages. So you could do a simple show me all stocks in stage 2, show me all stocks in
Right.
stage 1, 3, 4, whatever the case might be. So, and then also our scores. So we have a relative strength score, but we also have an absolute strength score. So some of the scores are very different, and others are, kind of based on, but far more catered towards the current market structure rather than something that was developed, 5 or 7 years ago that may not cater to the current market structure. Also, all our scores are, basically on a 1, 3, 12, 1, 3, 6, and 12-month horizon. So if you're a swing trader, you're more likely to look at 3-month or a 6-month to see which stocks are the strongest, or even 1 month to see which stocks are the strongest. Whereas if you're a position trader, you're more it caters towards a 12-month. So a lot of the different, things that we have, we're trying to build something robust that caters to multiple time frames and multiple different styles, and make it easy for everybody at the same time to do exactly what they want to be doing in the markets, or explore different strategies in the market. So we have hundreds of, very specific filters, something like in the wick, right? Like a wick play. Or we have something very generalized, something like just show me stage 2 stocks. I'll screen through, make my watch list, and keep moving on from there. So it caters to both complexities at the same time. And the and or logic allows you to build, layer your scans in different ways, so that you can build universe. Just like we have the Deepvue universe, kind of shows the flexibility of the screener that we have right now.
Yeah, and do you want to touch on kind of the second iteration of the screener with kind of the formula builder that we're developing?
Yeah, so the second step, I guess, to this and or logic that we have is to give traders or investors complete flexibility in terms of time horizon. So right now these are current day real-time data that is being scanned, but you could obviously with our formula builder that will come out in about, I would say, 6 weeks, will take it to the next level where you can, compare any data point to any data point, save a formula, or even create your own data point if you want to be doing that. So that will kind of be the next, add a layer of depth for the advanced users. Most users will stick to this setup, but we'll have an advanced view, a formula builder. It's think of it as a Pine script plus a TC2000 kind of morphed into one, but made easier for, even if you don't code per se, you don't need to learn JavaScript or Python to do this. It will be very simple, a clickable UI, which will give you parameters for different functions that we built into that formula builder, and give you the flexibility so that if you're not this advanced coder, you're taking courses on Udemy, only then you could use this. We don't want to cater to that. We want the advanced users and the ones that don't know how to code be able to use the formula builder in the same way. So that's something that will be the next adding a layer,
Iteration. Yeah.
to our screener.
Yeah, just to reemphasize this, you've got all these different technical patterns, inspired by a lot of top traders in the wick, kicker, oops reversal, wick play, power 3, 5-week ups, green line breakout. And again, we'll always be adding stuff to this. So if users really want a setting, and we'll put that together. So technical patterns. Also, we've got some candlestick patterns. I know a lot of people, look for inside bars, inside weeks, 3 weeks tight, key reversal bar. All this stuff is incorporated. So you've got the fundamental side of things taken care of with earnings, sales, all of that. And you can incorporate technical criteria into your screen as well. So I think that pretty much covers the screening aspect. Ryan, do you want to touch on the kind of your workflow for quickly adding stuff to a watch list, as well as the target list? I think you'd be great to walk through that.
Yeah. Yep. So let's just say, we want to add something to a watch list. You could simply select it, click this, and you add it, and your watch lists are right here, right? So they're always a click away. If you want to add multiple ones, you could select multiple ones. click here and you can add them right away. You could create a new list on the fly if you want to be doing that, or you could just copy them to your clipboard if you want to be doing that as
Or
well.
post to
Now,
Twitter or whatever you want to do there. Yeah, it
yeah,
basically copies
exactly.
the symbols. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the second part of it is we'll get to it, I guess, next, Richard, is the deep list. So we have this menu right here. When you click logos, there, a menu pops up and you could add it to your blue, orange, red, purple. These lists, the names you can configure the names to be anything that they want. So I have a high volume IPOs and a momentum with an ETF list. So if I see an ETF that I want to start tracking, I could just go here and add it to my orange list. So that's another capability in terms of organization. Another thing that I do like is
Oh
knowing
yeah.
what the company does. So when you pop over this, it gives you a quick, after 1 second or more that you hover over, it gives you a quick, a brief description of the company right away as to what they do in the markets. So these are some of the easy ways, and we're always optimizing. So something like this used to be on the right side all the way, right? So the mouse travel was not convenient. So we improved that by moving it to the left side. So these subtle changes in terms of how the users are looking at or using the application, we kind of look at that, we take that feedback, and then we improve our UI so that your process or how you get your work done in terms of finishing your weekend routine or daily routine is far more optimized. And on top of that, things are talking to each other, right? So you don't have to go somewhere else to get your fundamental data. So you copy this watch list over, export it to Excel, blah, blah, blah. All of that, even though you could do that right now in Deepvue, you don't need to, because the idea is to create this ecosystem that just talks to each other back and forth.
Yeah, and just to give people some ideas for the colored lists, I think every trader will kind of find their own way to use that. You might make your teal list. You might create a screen which looks for triple digit sales growth, and then you add all those to the teal list. Then whenever whenever you do another screen or build watch lists, based on the colors, and Ryan, could you point out, Airbnb's on your purple list? Can you show where the colors around the logo is the color of the list you're on? So whenever you create another screen, if you see a stock with a teal coloring around it, that has triple digit sales growth. So it's a quick visual way to add usability to your process and to speed up your workflows. Another way, you might look for, all stocks with earning surprises of X amount and color those each quarter in red. It's kind of limitless how you'd use those different color lists. I personally organize it. So I've got my wide list in this color, then I've got my weekly focus list, then I've got my daily focus list. One of them is reserved for leaders, stocks that I deem leaders. So once again, I know if I run another screen or sort in a particular way based on the color, I already have a sense of how I am analyzing that stock and everything. So I think the color lists are a really great time saver that again just add customizability and power to the platform. All right, you're messing around. Anything else you wanted to touch on with Screener?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few settings when you guys are in Deepvue. Like you could, if you want less stocks on your screen or if you want more. So the row height is also something that can be configured. Another thing that comes to mind is, some people just don't want to see dividend stuff, so you can hide that if you want to do that, or earnings. So all of that is customizable. In terms of Screener, all the data points that we have are available in the table plus the data panel. We've said that a couple of times. Things can be exported if you want to export stuff. So we still do support that. We're not like, if you're in Deepvue, you only have to use that. So if you want to export that list, you could copy symbols to Twitter, copy symbols to clipboard. You could export to CSV or Excel. There is, however, a limitation in terms of, we don't want someone to go out and just export 15,000 stocks from our database. That will bog things down, and it's not the most efficient way. But normal 99% of the use cases, you could use the export function as well if you want to be doing that.
Yeah, and Ryan, I saw a question about whether you can run a screen on a watch list that you've created. and we've talked about that's been requested, and we're working on that, right?
Yeah, so that's something we're working on as part of our watch list. V3 is what we're calling it. So you'll be able to scan a watch list. All right. We have, these iterations of screener V2, watch list V2 that are all in the pipeline and being worked on. So that's one of the things, yes, that's already part of our roadmap.
Perfect. I think we can move on to deep lists. I think let's dive right in. So this is our deep list module. This is where all your ideas are housed. So obviously, you've got your color list here if you'd like to access them this way. And you can see over on the top is where all your deep lists are. Here, let me take back control.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here we go. So we've got the Rise focus list. This is his blue list that he's renamed. You can see how he's got the ETF set up. This universe list, Ryan, do you want to touch on this? Because I think this is a really cool new feature that we just added very recently.
Yeah, so this universe list, all of these, if you don't want it, you can drag it away and always prioritize what you want to see, or you can prioritize based on what you want to see first. So this universe list basically is an aggregation of all your other watch lists in one list. So how I tend to use this is, when the markets are open, I just go through the universe to get, gauge strength, weakness, whatever the case might be, as to what's going on in the markets today. So if my universe list has a whole bunch of DCRs, let's say that they're, less than 50%, I know on an aggregate basis, based on my universe and all my watch lists aggregated into one, that, the market is not being supported on a broader basis. Or I can spot strength. It could be, I see rotation in the financial space, or I see rotation into medical. So this list in and of itself makes it very easy and for you to interpret how all of your watch lists that you have are acting all at once. And for me, during market hours, after the first hour, I'm focused on my focus list on the first hour, and then I switch to universe. It just gives me feedback, right? I know exactly what's going on. I know exactly where rotation's happening in the markets. And this is just one list I could have up all day, and I'll have a complete picture as to what's going on because my universe is built to kind of cater towards that. So,
yeah, and touching on you want to go to the alerts list too? Show that off.
yes. So the alerts module, which we'll get into on how you could set alerts, but it's just it's a watch list in Deepvue. So you can toggle on and off your alerts anytime. You can edit them in terms of their settings. You can receive SMS. We'll get into that. But again, you can bring in any of the columns that we have into your alert tab and track your alerts in a way as well. So this is one of the most recent updates that we made, where instead of having a completely separate alerts module, we just brought it in as a list and enable the capabilities that we have in deep lists as well, which gets,
Yeah.
Sorry, go.
Just gonna say, so any stock that you have an alert on will show up in this list. Is basically it's automatically populated there for you. So everything's in one place, and it makes it quick and easy to check on these names. Yep. And let me take control again. So here's this drop down menu as well. You can search for a deep list here. You can also just scroll. That's pretty much it. Really quick and efficient. Really fast to switch between different deep lists intraday. Get a sense of, like Rice said, where's rotation going? What's on my focus list? How's that doing? What's my portfolio doing? All that different stuff. So with that, I think let's move on to alerts, unless I'm missing anything on deep lists.
One thing that you could do is any screener that you have can be converted into a watch list.
Right.
So for example, if I have any of my screens, so like the NASDAQ 100, this is a screen that's converted into a watch list. So if I go back here to the screener, go to this drop down, if you click any of this, so
the
for
star,
example, you enable the star, now that this screener becomes a watch list for you to access right up here. So right here. So now this is live, right? Just as the screener is live, this watch list is also live. So as stocks come in and meet the criteria, this will show up. And if stocks come in and don't meet the criteria, that will also, it will be filtered real time. If you can enable sorting on this just like any other deep list, but it's almost like a real time screener that's a watch list, and it makes it convenient that if you have a go-to screen that you go to during the day, you can switch to that tab, see what's going on there. You can move them directly to a list, or you can move them to another watch list as well. So you could go here and add it to a different watch list. So that's an efficient way during market hours that you could turn some of your screens into watch lists, and that's unlimited. There is no restrictions on 5 or 10. Whatever it is that you need in terms of keeping up to date with your process, quickly adding, like say this stock, I want to review an after hours watch list, for example. So all of that capability exists in Deepvue.
Yeah, I see some great questions coming in, but let's quickly finish with the alerts, and then we'll answer as many as possible. So, Ryan, can you switch back to a normal layout, and then let's touch on creating an alert, and then also reviewing the alerts pop out and the alerts module. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. All right. So to create an alert in Deepvue, it's really quick and easy. Basically, what you want to do is draw a trend line, and let's go ahead and favorite this right here. So you can always have it up here. You basically draw a trend line and basically right click it, add alert, and then this pop up here basically appears. So you've got a few options here. You can notify when the stock is rising up through the alert line, falls below. You can add a note. So say, watch for volume. You can write a reminder here, or a note about the chart, what you're looking for in the moment. You've got your notification settings. This is kind of the default here. It can go through email, SMS, show a pop-up in the application itself. And basically, whatever your preference is, you can go ahead and get that sent. Then you just go ahead and press create, and there you go. You can see it's orange now, and you've got that alert active. In order to access alerts that become active and pop up, what you want to do is click this here, and when a new alert shows, you'll see a 1, a 2, or 3, however many alerts are becoming active. You'll see, and that you haven't reviewed yet, you'll see that number right here. So it's another visual way to get a sense of that. If you give this a click, you'll see the alerts that have been triggered recently. You can change the time frame here. And again, just like with the data columns where you want to get a sense of what the chart is doing or what the stock is doing without opening up the chart, with the alerts, you get that same sense here. So just looking at this first alert, we get a sense of how the stock was performing in this moment. So IONQ was falling below. It was down 3%. This was the date and timestamp. We've got the price that it was triggered at, the relative volume at that time. So it's under 1. So you can see volume was tracking a little bit less than normal at that point. And we've got this cool price surge data point where you can see when I hover over it, it represents the price percent change in the last 15 minutes prior to your alert. So this is super useful because, when a stock is breaking out, for instance, and it's moving through a potential resistance line, you've got your alert set and that triggers. If you see, in that previous 15 minutes, it's up 2%, 1%. You can get a sense of the momentum of that move as it's going through the alert versus if it's, up 0.1%, it's not really moving too fast. And again, on the downside, this works as well. If you see a stock really dropping fast during your alert, you get a sense. You've got Mara here. The last price surge was almost 5%. That's pretty crazy. So this quick visual, this gives you a few data points that give you a nice sense of what the stock is doing as you basically get that alert. And in order to manage them, you can once again go over to the deep list here. Let's hide these drawings and incorporate any data columns you wish. You can toggle them on and off and review their charts just like normal. So, Ryan, anything I'm missing when it comes to the alerts, notifications as well?
No, one thing I do want to emphasize on alerts is if you were to do a trend line alert and you adjust your trend line, it will automatically adjust in the back end. It will say alert was successfully updated. So that was one of the updates that a lot of folks liked. And our alerting is real time. So all the data points that we have here with respect to trend line and where the price is at. All of that is to the second, right? Alerting mechanism.
Yeah, and if
The
you
second,
oh,
yeah,
go
so
ahead. Do you want to do? You can also right click the chart and set a price level. So you don't just need to have a trend line here. You can set an actual value. I know Rai, you love the whole numbers, 2010. So you like to set alerts there. But you know it's the same thing. You can also toggle the alert time, how long you want to be notified if this happens. And yeah, there's a bunch more options there for you. Sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead. Go ahead. With what
no,
you're.
that's yeah. I mean, what we have for alerts is kind of our very first iteration, and the
It's our
second one
core.
will,
Yeah.
yeah, it's the core, the very basics of it. We have email, SMS, in-app notifications of alerts as well. And then now we're going to add the second layer. The second layer is going to be conditional. So it's going to be based on, for example, only send me a notification if, the value goes above this level and the volume is high, and the relative strength is 98 on a 1 month basis, and any other data point that we have in the system is also met. So that it will add a level of depth to our alerts, or flexibility in terms of reducing noise for your alerts as well. So you're not, some people, we have heavy users that use all 400, right, and are requesting more. And we have light users that kind of set 20, and out of 20, they only want to see, alerts based on certain conditions. So that's another thing that will be coming out relatively shortly as part of our alerts V3.
Yeah, if you know anything about Ross, he lives and dies by his alerts. So he's our kind of stress tester for all the alert stuff, and he's maxing out everything. So we've got that covered and have gotten a lot of really great ideas. So with that, I think that's pretty much a run through of many of the key features. Again, definitely check out the tutorials we post on YouTube. But let's go ahead and dive right in with a bunch of questions, because there's some great stuff being asked. Once again, please store it all in the Q&A section. That helps keep everything organized. But Rai, to start with, I think I saw a lot of questions about breath indicators, and maybe we can touch on what's coming, in the next few weeks.
Yeah, so breath indicators, we will have our first three that we'll calculate in-house available next week. So stock's about 40, 50, and 200 day. And then after that, we'll kind of snowball a lot faster in terms of what we add to our breath data in Deepvue. A lot of what you guys see in terms of McClellan, all of that stuff will be coming in relatively shortly. But next week, we're going to have our first three. We've kind of set the base of how we want to do breath indicators in Deepvue. How often do we want to update them? What, in terms of cycles, how do we want to name them? All of that is kind of done and will be released next week. And then after that, we'll have a lot more coming down the pipe much, much faster in terms of breath data.
Yep, sounds good. Any other key features that are coming pretty soon?
So we have multi-chart view, where you will be able to plot different, 4 charts across, control the time frame, control control which indicators you want to show on it, all real time. So that's going to be a new view that we're working on. Pre-post market will be finished the week of September 18. So we will have 5 different market states. So you can scan just the pre-market if you want. You could scan the pre and the regular. You could scan the post-market only if you want. So for example, when you have earnings after hours, and you could run a volume run rate with percent change screen just on after hours, you'll pick up a lot of the stuff that's moving after hours. So that's coming down the pipe. What else? Breath indicators, iPad compatibility, formula builder. So all of those things, we're adding a lot more depth to the platform in the short run. All of these ideas, right, stem from user feedback. We listen to it. We come back and ask you guys questions on, do you exactly want it this way or you want it that way? We have polls in our Discord. We reach consensus, ship it to the developers. They develop it, we QA, and we roll out. So that's kind of a never-ending loop for Deepvue. And yeah, those are some of the ones that are coming down the pipe in the short term.
Yep. And I saw a question about the presets and whether you can see those criteria.
Yeah.
If you go to the presets, you can open it up, you duplicate it, edit it, see all the criteria, all of that. So nothing's
So
hidden, and you can build on it. So I think a great way to use the presets is for idea generation and as kind of a foundation that then you can tweak and make your own. Maybe you don't want to use daily closing range at 40%. Maybe you want to use 70% and really restrict it down. Maybe you want to build a more general screen. You've got full flexibility, and definitely you'll get some great ideas looking at these screens that we've incorporated, and we're always adding to these presets as well.
and it's not hidden. Like none of the criteria is hidden. So it's all available. You just look at it. You can duplicate it and change it for yourself. Yeah.
Perfect. Let's see here. I saw a question about will we kind of demonstrate how we ourselves use Deepvue. We definitely will, and we're also going to be incorporating webinars with traders and show how they use it, the screens they use, all that. That will be on our YouTube channel, so definitely subscribe to that if you haven't yet. Ryan, do you want to touch on the cost, or do you want to answer some more questions?
Yeah, we can. The question on iPad compatibility, first week of September will be that Thursday or Friday of that week. We will roll out iPad compatibility.
Yeah.
So it's relatively soon, in about 3 weeks from now.
Yeah. There's also questions about commodities, that type of thing. When we we'll get to that, and we're prioritizing what our users would find most value in. So we'll definitely add those feeds.
I would say crypto, OTC markets, and index support will be this year, early Q4 to late Q4 of this year. So we'll have a lot more markets and a lot more symbols. So we're going to increase from 14,000 symbols that we have now to about 46,000, 47,000 symbols in terms of the universe of Deepvue. So yes.
Yep. Perfect. Let's see here. I see that Tyler and Nick have answered about 200 questions. So that tells you the dedication of Tyler. He's amazing. He's always answering user questions. Let's see here. Hope you can add a journal feature. Do you want to touch on what we're thinking about in terms of journal?
Yes. So we've planned it all out. We have fully spec'd out designs on how we want to tackle this. And our first journal implementation or development will start, let's see, the second week of October. We will start that. And I'm pretty confident we could deliver our first version of the journal early December area. So any module for us takes about a month and a half to kind of build a V1, ship it out. So yes, that's coming on later this year.
Yeah, and something that I really have in mind is the ability to take notes on per stock basis, as well as kind of have a note system that you can write a trading journal every day, how the market was, bring in screenshots, all of that, and yeah, basically build that resource for yourself. Where Ryan, I know you're huge on this. Connecting a current state to something in the past, right? So when you've got those screenshots, what the market did on this day, you'll be able to go back in time in a calendar tool, read your thoughts. And I think that'll be really valuable for people. And, I'm really excited for that, to have that all incorporated in the platform again. So it's right there for you. Quickly drag in, watch lists, screenshots, all of that. I think that'll be great.
Yeah, I think it's a good time to kind of get into pricing. So our pricing is very simple to begin with. The public offer is going to be $49 a month, or you save 2 months and you go $490. With respect to the data we have, the screening capabilities, watch list, you're off the top, you're going to save 100 or more a month if you just compare it to any other platform at the moment. So we're priced to kind of see mass adoption. We're able to offer this price at this very moment, and the next couple of weeks. We want to see a lot of folks come in, but we can't guarantee the price will be the same in January, December, of this year when we incorporate a whole bunch of more modules. So early adopters, the offer that, the introductory pricing is you get 49 or 490, you maintain or keep that pricing for forever as long as you keep an active subscription. So when we add a journal, when we add cryptocurrencies, we add indexes, data, we add different aspects to our current watch list or alerts. All of that is included within the 490 and 49. It's just that, just to be honest, it gets very difficult when we add a whole bunch of things later down the line for us to offer the same pricing 6 months down or 9 months down. So this is our introductory pricing. It will be available as long as we feel, it's comfortable. It's easy for us to actually, go out, build a platform, scale the platform, add a whole bunch of features. We could do that at this pricing. And we feel we're giving a lot of value for just, the 49 and 490 at the moment. And that's the introductory pricing, which you will lock in as long as you maintain an active subscription. It will include all future modules for journal, allowing you to, news feeds that we will add, custom market color, depth to alerts, watch list, and screening, advanced screening capabilities. All of that will be included in the same pricing. So,
yeah, there's a good question from Joan. Can I take a monthly subscription and then convert to an annual maybe in a month or so?
Yes. So you can convert or you can upgrade to annual at any point in time. So let's say you sign up today, you use it for 10 days. After 10 days, you want to upgrade. You just go to your, account settings. You say, I want to upgrade to annual. It will take the 49, prorate that. So it will, the portion of 49 that's left over will be dedicated to the 490. So it's all prorated automatically within the portal. Yeah.
And there's a question about having a Deepvue up at their home as well as their office computer at the same time. Can you talk about like how many sessions you can have?
So right now you can. So we operate with concurrent active sessions. So if you're at home, you use it and you go to work, the active session is now at work, right? Or if you have, I have an iPad and I have my laptop. Those are two separate sessions. We allow two separate. So we have up to 3 active sessions per user. And after the third one, it will say you got to log out of one other machine for you to even get in. So we allow up to 3.
Yep. And there's a question from Jamie. Will it auto renew at the same annual rate locked in?
Yes. As long as you maintain an active subscription. So the 490, that's what the introductory pricing is. As of today, we can offer 49 a month, 490, and let's say 6 years down the line when we have a fully spec'd out journal, all the bells and whistles, news feeds, dashboards, etc., you will still be at 490 a year and 49 a month. So we're not going to. So you lock this pricing in, and that's what we can offer very easily today. We can't guarantee that will be the same case in a couple of months from now.
Yeah, perfect. Great to see positive feedback in the chat. That's awesome. Let's see here if there's any other big things coming in. We've already been going an hour and a half, so we don't want to take out too much time. Who is Tyler? He's great, knows his stuff inside out. Yeah, he's fantastic. He's been answering so many questions today, and he does that on a daily basis in Discord. So Tyler's the man. Let's see. Ryan, do you see any other questions that we want to cover?
Does Deepvue offer industry group relative ranking score? Yes, we have 1, 3, 6, and 1, 3, 6, and 12-month industry ranks. Yes, already it's there. Who is Tyler? We answered that. So AI integration. I see a few questions for AI integrations. Yes, we're thinking of that. We're thinking of I guess the most efficient ways to kind of integrate it. We don't want to integrate it just for the sake of, everybody has it, just throw it there and might not be useful. You use it for a week and you never use it again type of thing. So we're always thinking about how we can leverage the OpenAI APIs to kind of make it easier for folks. There was one idea that we were talking to Eve a couple of days ago where she said, I just want to talk to someone and that, talking to them can build a screen for me. So like I want price above this. Quarterly earnings above this, and it kind of auto builds that screen. So that's something we're always thinking of ways, right? We're always thinking of ways to improve what we have built, add depth to what we have as well. A question about, can we expect this introductory pricing through August? Yes, through August, September timeframe, most definitely. I'm just, what I'm trying to say is, if you see enough value today and you want to lock in this pricing, we can guarantee that we will never raise pricing on you. Even if we add 5 other modules after the fact, they will remain $49,490 for you if you sign up today. We just can't guarantee, we can't say, you know, we will add 5 other modules and we'll still offer 49. It's just from a pricing perspective, just raw honesty. You know, we have costs. The data takes money. In terms of margin, you know, it all decreases, and whatever's left over, we reinvest back into the platform to build new modules, right? So for us to sustain what we want to be doing, the pricing will be going up, but that will be in the future. As of today, we can offer this because we feel, you know, this is the pricing that will get mass adoption. We'll get a lot of folks excited. You guys will be rooting for us. We'll be working hard for you, and that's kind of the, you know, the loop that we will go back and forth.
Yeah. Again, I want to emphasize, we listen to the community every single day, and we ourselves are using this as our daily drivers. The ideas that come from the users have made the platform so much better in what it is today. So we love all the ideas, so many great suggestions, improvements, all of that, and we incorporate that directly into our pipelines and roadmaps. I see a question, will this webinar be available on YouTube? Yes, so you'll be able to refer back to it, any single part. I'll also add timestamps, so when we cover and/or filters, I'll make sure there's a link right to that part as well. Yeah, right. Anything you really want to close with, or
yeah. One, you know, a few things I want to emphasize. Customer support is kind of at the forefront. Everybody that we have internally knows that we have to answer questions that we get, and we have to be open and responsive to the feedback that we get. And that's kind of the foundation of what we will operate upon, right? We want to listen to you guys. We want to cater, you know, build a platform that's for everybody, not just for a certain style. So that's very, very important. The second is, we're always improving. Something's not working, we have support present. You know, we've had, you know, many calls where if something's not working, someone will hop on with Zoom with you and you know, have that conversation to see what's going on, because we want to make sure you know, it's working for everybody. You're getting what you paid for. So the customer support, I would say, is one of the top things for us. The second, we're always adding. So if you have ideas, we have a roadmap feature built right into the platform. So you could go here, click roadmap, and request a feature. And it's as simple as that. The more detail that you add to it, right? The more ideas that you have, the more detail that you add, the easier it becomes for us to kind of go and implement it. If you say, I just, you know, a single sentence to say, add advanced formula builder, it doesn't really help us. So the more detail that you add, we look at all of these. We have internal, you know, meetings, team meetings to discuss these ideas, take them into the design phase. Nick works with the design team directly to get them designed. And then we have, you know, we go into development. So all of that is it's a seamless process. So the more ideas that you have, the you know, the bigger roadmap. We think of broader in terms of, you know, how do we tackle, you know, these 50 feature requests with kind of building a killer module, right? So that's kind of how we think it. So the more ideas we have, the better, and the more kind of, you know, interaction we have with you guys, you know, rooting for us, and we, you know, we get energy from that, and we kind of, you know, take that and bring new stuff to the platform. So it's kind of a two-way street. You help us out, we help you out, and that's just how it goes. So in terms of discount code, I see everything's already applied. It's $49 a month, $490 a year. You should see that at checkout. There's no discount code or any, you know, you don't need to apply anything there. It's $49 and $490.
Yep, and I just dropped the link once again. Right, there's a question about where the knowledge base is located. Maybe touch on that, because that's a good resource for people.
Yeah, so if you go at the bottom here, you have support, and the first link that you'll see is to the knowledge base. I'll open it back up. There's a lot of work that Jackson, he's in the chat, and Tyler have done on this, and we review it as a team as well, and we're continuously improving. So if you were to click any of these, like, how do I create a screen? We have a video at the very top that Richard makes. And then at the bottom, we have just, you know, text documentation as to what, if you want to read the text and not watch the video or not watch Richard. If you have feedback, you know, this article was good, it helped me out. If it didn't, you know, we look at this in the background, right? We get stats. If a lot of people say this is not good enough, We come back, we update it, we add more visuals, whatever the case might be. If it still doesn't work and you have extra questions, you can submit that. We get it right, we get that, all of that in the back. We will answer that question for you as well. One other thing is when you sign up, you'll be part of a Discord. That's where you will see Tyler, me, Richard, and Nick. We're there. We'll answer your questions. And you'll be added to the subscriber chat or the members lounge or whatever we call it. And we want to talk to you guys. I think that's the most important. We want to build something that's, catering to different styles. We want to make sure that you're heard, and we want to make sure that you're aware of what's coming up, right? That's the announcements channel. And we always kind of, send out emails. You should be in the know. Like, you've made an investment, right? At 49 or whatever, 49, 490. We want to make sure you're satisfied with that. And that's kind of the objective, of how we want to go about building Deepvue, or how we want to go about building a platform. Yeah, that's all, Richard. I maybe was too long, but
no, I think that's good, and I think this video will be a good resource for people. So hopefully this helped. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let's see. There's a question from Jackson. Do you want to show the dictionary, the Deepvue dictionary? Yeah.
Yes, we can. So
yeah,
go here.
Yeah, thank you guys for the positive response. We're really excited about this, and hopefully you guys join us.
Do you want to send me a link to it, Jackson, or how do I kind of get to it? Let me see. We have this and Deepvue dictionary right here.
There you go. So
every data point is kind of talked about, every single data point here. So if you go to a description of company, we got to check as to why the anchors are not working. But every data point has some sort of explanation, so that how do we calculate our scores is all present. How do we, different earnings data points that we have, what they represent, what, that this is really well done by Jackson and Tyler. So all of this is available as part of the knowledge base.
Yep. And if you have any requests for video tutorials, added, articles, all of that, we'll be creating that for you. So I think we can call it there. Nick, any last thoughts from you, or you think we're good to go?
No, I think we're good to go. I'll just say that this is the only platform that we use ourselves all day as we trade, and it ticks all the box for us, and it's a really awesome platform. It's really well thought out, and I think that you guys will really enjoy it. So that's it.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, we're really excited about it. Hopefully you guys are too. I see a lot of great messages in the chat, so thank you guys so much, and thanks for spending your Sunday morning with us. And go ahead and thanks, Sherry, for that. Go ahead and enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you guys on Twitter and in Deepvue. So we'll see you there. Bye.
Have a good weekend, guys.